Hello and welcome to Lesson 2 of the Advanced Preparatory Piano Tutor Book. In this lesson we're going to learn about the sustaining pedal. We're going to learn about playing 6 intervals and we're going to learn about the SF sign. So let's start straight away by talking about the sustaining pedal. Now this is quite an exciting time, I find, for many of my pupils, because they always want to start learning to use the pedals for the first time. So let me explain about the sustaining pedal. The sustaining pedal is the right pedal on the piano. Now it's there to take off what's called the dampers off the strings. So this is why sometimes it's known as the damper pedal. So inside the piano you have lots of dampers, and within it you have felt which rests on the strings. So when you play a note, it stops it from vibrating. Now, when you put the pedal down, it takes the damper off the strings, so the string will continue to vibrate like this. Okay, so there is right and wrong ways of actually doing pedalling. Now, it's important that you do this properly because for health and safety reasons, more than anything else, it's the correct way to make sure you don't put any undue strain on your body. Now, the rule is that you always keep the heel on the floor and you use your ankle like a hinge. So you just press with your toes. So the most important thing to remember is your heel must remain on the floor and you just press and tweak with your toes whenever you use the pedal. So you see here, you've actually got a nice pedal marking shown and it's marked with ped. And this always appears at the bottom of the music, as you can see in this piece here called Piano Pedal Madness. So what we actually do here, we play just one crotchet note, but you hold the pedal down and let it vibrate through for 2 bars. So in effect, you're holding it on for 8 counts, including the note that you play, like this. Now you can see underneath, you've got the pedal marking written 4 times. So that means in between you lift the pedal up and then you put it down again for the next note. So here's the whole performance of Piano Pedal Madness, so you can hear it now. Then we go into a piece of music which gives you the opportunity for using pedal all the way through now. Now, with this piece, what I suggest you do is follow the pedal markings as written. It says etc. if you have a look at bar 5. So I suggest you follow and do the pedalling every 2 bars. But when you get groups of 3 notes coming together, as you have done from bar 5 onwards, I would consider just pedalling every bar, and that will help you quite a bit. Now the great thing about pedalling is you don't have to use it all the way through. You can choose when to use it and when not to choose it. And as you get more experienced of using the pedal, you'll hear yourself and feel yourself where it is it's suitable for using pedal and not using pedal. So even though this piece says ped, etc., you can choose really whether you decide to have it all the way through, just in a few places, or not at all in certain places. But the choice is yours on that, and that's one thing you need to experiment with and try it out. Now, at the end of the piece, you'll notice you've got a double P sign, pianissimo. Now, because the sustaining pedal tends to make the notes much louder, you've got to play ultra quiet there. Otherwise you'll find it very, very difficult to actually get the double P marking. Okay, so let's move on now to have a little talk about intervals. We have looked at intervals before in the preparatory tutor book, but now we're going to stretch our notes one stage further and play in what's called a sixth interval. So to play in a sixth interval, you just need to stretch little finger up one note. So you're playing a C and an A. The same will apply with your left hand. One note up with your thumb this time, and there it is. So your first task is a separate hand exercise where you're trying to have a go at playing all the intervals, just going up in a row, okay? Now when you play these, I suggest what you do is do lots of down action with your wrist, because it will tend to keep your wrist a little bit more supple. If you go in when you do your playing, you're going to find here you're going to get very strained on your wrist. So lots of down action as you play will help keep your wrist supple here, like this. And the same applies with the left hand. Still do quite a bit of down, supple wrist action. And then moving on to the very last part of the lesson, which is the SF sign. Now, SF sign stands for, and I love saying this word, sforzando, which means suddenly loud, or to play suddenly strength or with force, or something along those sort of lines. Okay, so you'll see that in this piece you've got the SF sign in the waltz at bar 4 and also at bar 8. So when you get there, just remember, give both hands just a bit more of an oomph when you get there, okay? Now again, you can see you've got the pedal marking, but you can choose to use pedal or not, but it's another way of experimenting with the pedal, just to try it out one more time if you play it in this piece. You'll also notice as well that you have got the 6 intervals there as well at bar 11. So that might need a little bit of separate hand practice to get that bit right. And I will finish this lesson 2 by giving you just one little more task to think about. Somewhere in that piece is an arpeggio of C major. See if you can work out where it is. And that completes lesson 2.